Hey there guys, Tom here. Welcome back to my movie channel and thank you very much for joining me and Ali for episode 4 of WandaVision. This is a spoilers review, so again, if you haven't seen the episode yet, see the episode because there was a lot of information in this episode and we're going to jump right into it. So, this episode, basically there was no real Wanda and Vision scenes except for right at the end.
Yeah.
But I want to start at the beginning, where this is the first episode, and I don't know what the meaning behind this is, but there was no Marvel intro.
Well, there was.
In this episode.
There was.
Was there? Oh yeah, no, it happened. That's right. It happened later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Because when it started, I was like, there's no Marvel. Normally it's right at the beginning. But it starts with basically Monica Rambeau waking up after the blip.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting, because you see the effect and you're not sure what's going on at first. And then it's like, oh, wow. And actually, it once again, post Endgame, we saw in Spider-Man Homecoming where, the kids playing basketball in Spider-Man Far From Home, and they would come back on the basketball and they played it for humor. This was played really seriously, like, oh shit, what happens when like millions of people suddenly come back at once?
Yeah, especially in a hospital.
In a hospital where it's already chaotic. And then Monica Rambeau comes back after the blip, and we find out that Maria Rambeau has died, and that she basically missed that.
Yeah.
But what I found really cool was that as Monica Rambeau is waking up, there's a certain voice you hear that says Captain Trouble.
Lieutenant Trouble.
Lieutenant Trouble. And that's, little Brie Larson.
It's your girl.
Little Brie Larson cameo for you. Big Brie Larson fans here. She liked my tweet. As if I wasn't going to bring that up. So you hear Brie Larson's voice for 2 seconds. It shouldn't make that big of it shouldn't mean that much to me, but it does. It's cool. And if she shows up in this show, I will shit my pants. No, I really like this episode because we're getting a lot more information, and it's, from the perspective of, you have Agent Wu, played by Randall Park, you've got Monica Rambeau, and you've got
So Darcy and she is played by Kat Dennings.
From Thor 1 and 2.
From Thor 1 and 2. Yeah, that
yes.
too. Yeah. Yeah, this is a great, they brought these supporting characters from these movies together, and they're like giving them more to do, fleshing them out a tiny little bit. I like that.
Yeah, and they're also, it goes into more about what happens after the blip, what life is like for some of these people in these like agencies. But then, then they basically discover that Wanda's the one behind doing this.
Yeah. But there's so much put into this episode that isn't just exposition for us to know why those scenes at the end of the first 3 episodes are there. It's also like giving us so much context of like what Wanda is actually doing. Because I talked about this last week, that I thought she was kind of just mind controlling this whole town.
Yes.
Was proven right.
Yeah, so she's actually kidnapped, essentially.
An entire town of like 3,000 people.
But a town that they said doesn't exist.
So I think this comes like, so there's a reference to the Big Bang, energies of the Big Bang, which is what created the Infinity Stones. Her mind powers come from the Mind Stone.
Yes.
So I'd say that that people conveniently forgetting that Westview is there is related to that for sure.
What, you think she's the one making people forget about Westview?
She's a very powerful Avenger. Like,
I know she can do whatever she likes. I mean, this is the woman that almost single-handedly killed Thanos.
Yeah, like I think that, look, she can kidnap a whole town, but she's at least smart enough to be like, people will probably notice, so maybe they should just like forget, just on the down low.
Yeah. And the scary part of this episode was, well, first of all, you do see the end of the scene from the last episode where she throws Monica Rambeau out after mentioning Ultron.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Olsen, the way she played that scene, like her reaction to that, it was almost like she got mad, threw it out, and then there was this moment of like, what did I just do? It was almost like she was like, oh.
She acted really, like, she's a great actress.
No, she is. She's
she
fantastic.
is, but she really plays that scene so well.
But it's like this moment of, oh shit, what have I done? But then when Vision comes back in the room, they double down on the fact that like, and the way that the scene plays out, it's almost like she doesn't like the fact that she had to use her power to throw Monica out and potentially kill her. But also, no, this is what I have to do
to protect this, protect
to protect
myself and Vision.
my little reality here.
Yeah.
So you get the sense that, you know, there are theories going around that someone else is involved in whatever this is and that they're actually trapping her there. And I don't buy that.
No.
I think this is Wanda trying to deal with her trauma and setting up this whole reality. And then you see for a second, like dead Vision. Like he's grey and he's got the like hole in his head from, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't scary in anger, like in Infinity War when it was just a body, but when he starts talking, it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
And there was a theory I've seen going around the last couple of days saying like, oh, what if she took Vision's dead corpse basically and somehow brought it back to life, you know? But it's still like, it's actually still grey and like he's still got a hole in his head, but he's actually talking.
I could buy that because somebody has to be acting out Vision. Like by the rules that she's created within this town.
Yes.
Someone has to be acting out this role of Vision. So I can buy that she has, you know, reanimated with her powers, like his dead corpse. I think
and stringing him along like a puppet.
I actually love that. That would fit so well into what they're doing with it. I don't know if that's where they're going to go with it because it is very dark.
I just think that's what that hinted at. Otherwise, why show his dead corpse?
Because trauma.
Unless it's just her trauma.
Yeah.
In which case, how is Vision there? Like, it's one way that we can sort of theorize about how Vision's there. That explains that if she's the one corpsing, you know, playing puppeteer.
Yeah, which she is for everyone else, so why not Vision?
Yes. Well, sort of. I don't know that she's making them play along. I think people that go in there realize, oh, I have to play along.
I think Monica realized that. Because Monica has like that moment in the second episode where she can't seem to remember her name or anything about herself. So she just makes up a name.
So maybe going in there, you kind of forget about your past life.
Maybe.
And then you sort of realize, I have to play along or I'm dead.
That is incredibly plausible, yes. I do think that there is still some mind manipulation going on.
For sure.
For sure.
Well, remember, the Mind Stone that can do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
She did that so often in
Ultron. They made a big deal out of Ultron, and this is probably the most amount of times they've referenced the movie Age of Ultron in an MCU thing, because they really didn't mention it much. Like, I know Civil War, they mentioned it once or twice, but they're really sort of doubling down. You know, interestingly, when Jimmy Woo is like, they're figuring out who the people are, you know, they're like, oh, this person's being played by this, and that, you know, they didn't put Catherine Hahn up on the wall.
I noticed that.
She's the only one in that cast that they didn't.
I think you don't cast somebody who is Catherine Hahn and not have her play, you know, more than just a nosy neighbor who's been mind controlled into being that type role. I think she is integral.
So is she a villain? Is she... Some people have speculated that she's Agatha Harkness, which is a character from the comics. She's a witch.
That's possible.
Yes. I kind of like the idea that it's not some villain.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that.
You know,
I like the idea that it is just Wanda processing,
dealing
or not
with her
processing.
trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. The other thing I suspect is that Vision's gonna be the one to figure this all out.
Oh yeah, he seems to be keying in.
He seems to be, and every time he says like, oh, something's not right here, she rewinds it.
Yeah.
And the last episode was the first time that she straight up lied to him. Because any other time he's sort of started to clue in a little bit and ask what's going on, she just rewinds it. But in the last episode, when he goes, where did Geraldine go? Oh, she had to leave. You know, so she actually straight up lied to him. So she doesn't want him figuring out what's going on. And I think he's going to be the one to ultimately figure this out. And I think she's going to have to put him down.
That would be tough and kind of full circle.
That's my theory. I think she's going to end up having to put him down and give this all up. And it's going to send her on a deeper, darker spiral that'll lead into Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2. And Doctor Strange is going to have to put her down. That's my theory. I know it's dark, but that's my theory.
I mean, look, I love to go as dark as possible with basically all of my TV show theories. And
well, it would be nice to prove some of those DC fanboys, you know, like Marvel can't do dark. And
Marvel has done dark several
times. I'm joking. I like DC. Don't worry, it's all good.
I also like DC, but I'm just saying Marvel has gone dark plenty of times.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok, as funny as it was, pretty damn dark.
Yeah, like they just understand tone and when and how to use it.
Yes.
And look, WandaVision, if anything, is like a perfect example of knowing how to switch tones on a dime, but it works.
And it works so well. It's like, it's amazing how they're able to like go from like sitcom to really dark.
There's that incredible scene in the first episode where Mr. Hart is choking and the wife is like still smiling, but she's like through tears, just like, stop it. And it is disturbing.
And Wanda changes like on a vision, help him.
Yeah.
Which is odd. It's like she's trapped. So if the theory's right, she's trapped all these people in this town, right, to play along with her thing. But she still won't let them die. Like, you know, where it's like she's still...
I think that's a line she's not willing to cross. Like
where
she
doesn't want to kill them.
Yeah, she doesn't want to kill them.
No.
But I think that it's going to get to a point in the TV show that she's going to feel in some way justified in doing it. And that will be like her turning point as a character.
See, I can't help but think if she thought for a second she'd killed Monica.
Oh, I think she believes she has.
Yeah, because just the look on her face alone just kind of like sort of said to me that she thought, but she kind of, like you were saying, justified it in her head. Like, well, no, I've got to protect what I've got.
Yeah.
So, listen, we got a lot more information, I think, in this episode than we did in the previous 3. And I think people who maybe, you know, because there are some people that have been jumping off, you know, they saw 1 and 2 and they're like, this isn't Marvel. I don't know what's going on.
Those people,
you know,
are not my friends.
Well, though, like, I get it because Marvel's doing something really different.
Yeah.
But this is one of those shows where it's like, I feel like you've just got to hang in there. And by the end, it will turn into the MCU that we know.
Sure, but like, I think it's great that they are doing something different.
Oh, I love that they're doing something different.
Like this, they could just do this and not have it ever interact with the MCU at all for me, and I'd be like, you know what? I love that. Like a one-off comic book in a way.
Yeah,
it's just this separate story.
I mean, like I said to you the other week, I want an Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany sitcom show.
Yeah.
Where they're not Wanda and Vision, it's just those two in a rom-com. Like, that would be hilarious.
They're so good together. They just bounce off each other so well. And the thing is, that first maybe only scene those two have in Ultron, where he just picks her up and saves her, you'd never think that, I don't know, when did that come out? 2013?
Yeah, something like that.
2014?
Yeah.
Whatever,
You'd never think it would turn into what it is now.
And I think that's awesome. I love what Marvel are doing, and I don't want them to do the same things all the time, because that's boring.
Yes.
It's just boring.
Yeah.
And I can only say that I hope Winter Soldier and Falcon is this good.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's a few weeks away, so we'll find out. But I don't think it'll be as intriguing as this. This is certainly like getting really bonkers.
I think it will be more like an action-adventure show.
Yes.
But, you know, I want it to be the same quality, if not in the same tonally, I guess.
What happens next episode?
I think we're jumping into the 80s.
Yeah.
We're going to see some great hair, or some terrible hair, depending on your opinions.
I think we're getting some more story, though.
Obviously, more story.
I think we're definitely going to get deeper into what's actually going on. Because episode 4 did the most out of the 3 to really talk about, you know, what's actually going on.
It's a lot of exposition, and like, but not in a, you know, Christopher Nolan way.
But it's fun.
Exposition in a fun, interesting to watch way.
It's fun and it works. Yeah. So I thought this episode was cool. I thought it was great. I loved it. Bring on episode 5, I guess. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Let us know in the comment section what your thoughts on episode 4 of WandaVision are. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Tom. That's my friend Ali. We will see you guys next week.